it. I'm like, yeah, okay, whatever. So,
What'd you do?
Well, that was interesting. I hit record and he bailed.
What'd you do, Jason?
I hit record and the man bailed.
Hold on, I'll go knock on his door.
Come on.
Probably still talking to himself.
Good one, Jason. I thought I did something.
That was interesting. I mean, I hit record and it popped up on my screen record and boom, he was gone.
All right, Brad, start from the beginning.
I was off. Hi, can I come in?
Yeah.
Yeah?
You can.
I hit record and you bailed, man.
I was like, where did I go? I got cut off. I just got ripped a new one by a lender, first time ever. Up the flagpole, right back down the flagpole. You don't know what's going on. You don't talk to me like that. What are you trying to control? Your communication's horrible. You can't. You should check yourself, your use of words. You're accusing me, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, huh? Cool. Luckily, it was on a conference call. And I just start laughing. He's like, you find this funny? I'm like, I find it amusing. It's not funny, though. The cross agent's on the thing. And what I didn't know, this is the best part, the buyer was on the phone. So the cross agent had her buyer on the phone. I didn't know it. I thought it was just the cross agent, myself, and the lender. Because this thing has been a dumpster fire. Like this is the 2020 quintessential 2020 transaction. Like a dumpster fire of a year, dumpster fire of a transaction, and this lender went postal on me. So I was like, great, I just got cut off again. What did I say? Did I thank someone? No. Anyway. So where I was at was, it was like doing Forex activities. So like I'm looking 60 and 90 days downfield and I've got crap. I've got all these buyers and I keep erasing the dates on the board and they're no longer January, they're February. They're no longer February, they're March. They're on hold. There's a question mark, and I go from having 12 buyers to 5 buyers to 3 to 2 to 1, like in 3 weeks between middle of December and first week of January. That's where I was at. And so I said, well, I got to work with what I got. And I have to be diligent about doing a Forex activity. I'm like, maybe this is it. Maybe this is what Jason talked about back in Shift, and so instead of picking up the phone and calling people and reminding them that I'm in real estate and going through that script, right? Which I thought might be a good script, but I opted not to do it. And what I did was I called everybody and I just checked in on them, right? Before it was fashionable to do so. I put stuff on Facebook every now and again, just something, right? And I had my Facebook, social media thing that I was using and I would put stuff on there and stay relevant. And so that was working. I got that from Magnus Title. And as I'm having these phone calls and we're just talking about like, hey, how you carving a life out of this? What's going on? What are you doing? What secrets can you share? How's your family? And just having those conversations are like, we wanted to talk to you because we're thinking about selling our house. I'm like, okay, well, we could do that too. Why don't we just catch up right now? And then we can just schedule a time where we could talk about business later. Like, I really didn't want it to be about business. So I said, while we're both thinking about it, here, let me take a look. I'm like, I pull my calendar on my computer. I'm like, okay, cool. Hey, I'm free tomorrow at whatever time, or I'm free whatever day. What works best for you? And I put it on there, and then we just finished the call and just kept on having a conversation. And that's all I did, literally all I did, and open houses. That's all I did. And I went from 12 to 8 to 5 to 3 to 2 to 1 buyers in no time. And then I went from 1 to like 20 in, 3 weeks, and that's what I did. That's all I did. There was like no magic pill. I didn't mix the red one and the blue one. I didn't do anything. I drank a lot of alcohol, I have to admit. I don't remember the last time I didn't have a beer in my hand or something. I'm like, what the hell? I'm doing okay. I try to keep the weight down. I play pickleball, So, but that was it, so that's what I did. And what has actually happened since then has been pretty cool. Like, as I'm looking at the board, kind of like refresh my memory, like my cousin, calls like, hey, are you going to talk to Bob and Mary Wilson? They're settling up their dad's estate. They have a ton of money. They have a ton more money coming in. They're going to go to Hawaii and buy a house. Then they want to come here because they want to have a house here on the golf course. Their budget's around $1 million. I was like, all right, cool. So I called Bob and Mary and have a conversation with them. I'm like, I'd be happy to refer you to an agent in Maui, and I just happen to have the googly eye card, here, like call him, and then Bob and Mary are like, they call me back and like, actually, thank you for that, but we already found a guy. I'm like, okay, cool. So, the referral didn't work out, but I was like, hey, why not? So, but I mean, like there's really cool stories all the way up and down my board, and all of them went back to just having that phone call, and one thing I did not do is like, I did not feed into the frenzy on like this whole COVID. I put some stuff out there, and I think I got blocked by a couple of like old time friends. Like one of my friends, Stephanie, I've been friends with her since kindergarten, which is a long time. Mm-hmm. And she ripped me a new one on Facebook, like with everyone. I'm like, you're missing the point. I'm not saying anything about Fauci. I'm saying stuff about hand washing. It's about hand washing because Fauci had said, don't ever shake hands again. I was like, what? Really? Like you have more of a chance of catching germs, like, at the gas pump or an ATM, stuff like that. And like, of course I know hand washing is important. I'm a maniacal hand washer, but she wanted to make it about Fauci. It wasn't about Fauci. It kind of was. I'm like, that's what an infectious disease guy does. He's like, oh no, don't touch anyone, So I put that out there. That was the only thing kind of somewhat political I put out, but I stayed away from the politics, altogether. So what are you guys doing?
Writing Benzers.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. That's not what I meant, Michael.
I'll tell you, Brad, when COVID first hit, I had a listing that literally went live like the day before we got, I don't know, like the week before we shut down, right? Everybody was sort of hearing about it, but we hadn't sort of shut down yet, but everybody was nervous. And I did my open house and I had not the numbers that I was expecting.
Right.
And so literally, and then like I had my open house on Saturday, and I think it was Monday or Sunday or Monday that we shut down. And I thought, oh crap, I got to figure out what to do for this listing. Like that was my main impetus, was like, what do I do to help these sellers get this house sold? And so I spent probably that week, like just trying to shovel in as much information on like retooling and how do we do virtual open houses? How do we do virtual showings? How do we do all of this kind of stuff to try and retool for that? And I got into it and I was like, oh, this stuff's freaking brilliant. And so I'm like, this is going to be a part of like what we do, period. It was like, okay, we're totally using this from now until forever anyway. But what I found was that, I did some of the same things that you did. I think Keller told us right away, start making our care calls. And so that's exactly what I started doing. Like nobody wanted to talk about real estate. Nobody wanted to talk about, are you okay? Are you guys healthy? Do you have what you need? What can I help with? And so we just started making those care calls. And in fact, we're still making those care calls because those people are still affected. So when we do our DTD2 calls, it is just a care call. Like that's it. If they start talking real estate with us, great, then we'll jump in. But otherwise it is just simply a care call. And, same kind of thing happened. I was a little shocked that the business kept coming, and like last month I closed the most I've ever closed in 1 month in my entire career, and this month I'm on track for just about the same. And
that's
like
awesome.
I have a super full pipeline, and I thought to myself, holy crap! My biggest fear at this point is how do I make sure that this keeps happening? And so in talking with my coach, Lauren, and stuff like that, she's like, you have to remember, Katie, that you were doing all of this stuff before COVID hit, and you've just kept doing it. And so we were doing lots of videos. Videos, I think, has kept me super, super relevant during all of this. And
you were doing the reading. You were reading books, right?
Yeah. Well, but that was for the kids. That was
yeah.
But,
I mean, you were doing it.
Yeah. But like real estate videos and sending out my real estate video emails through Viral, and so it's like I never disappeared. Canada Dry, no beer. But yeah, so they kept seeing my face. Like I didn't disappear for months, I guess is what I'm saying. And so that I think was probably the thing that that helped me, but yet in the back of my mind, I'm a little bit nervous, like this is going to go away, but I don't want it to go away. So
Yeah. Yeah. Everybody else, you know, like what Katie said is correct. You know, like she stayed front of mind, and it wasn't always necessarily real estate. You know, like the first thing I went to was to reading the books, but she
yeah,
was still front of mind because people saw that, you know, and I would check in for about, I don't know, 15 seconds,
yeah.
you know, and then I move on. I'm like, I don't have time, you know,
You don't want to listen to the chapter book?
but you stayed front of mind. So that was awesome.
Yeah.
Paul, what have you been doing since COVID?
Well, to tell you the truth, I've been doing, pretty much the same thing. I haven't had the best of luck, but I did make a lot of trying to contact my leads that I had been working with, and they, some of these leads buyers were wanting to buy before, like in October, November, December, and then they just kind of hit the brakes. They said, we're just going to wait and see what happens. And I just said, okay, no problem. And I just checked in with them. And unfortunately, like 3 of them have, 2 lost jobs. And another one is really worried about it. So like 3 or 4 out of the 5 people that I was working with were affected. And then another one, I had a new build under contract in January. It was supposed to close June 18th. And he worked at the casino. And so with him getting furloughed for a little while, then he came back on, but they wanted to see 2 weeks worth of paycheck with his tips that he had, because he was claiming a lot of tips. He had a lot of, he made like twice as, almost half his salary in tips. But while waiting for that, he kept hearing that he might get laid off or something. So he kept messing around, and he ended up losing out. He walked away from the new build, lost $5,000. I kept trying to tell him, I said, if you just go ahead and get in it, you can sell that thing for $30,000 more than you paid for it, or you can rent it out or something, and you'll be fine. And then the very last 2 or 3 days, he tried to go ahead and do that, but they had already put the cancellation into effect, and I couldn't save it. So that was kind of the one that really bothered me, because I couldn't save it, but he waited and waited and waited. He was just nervous, and hey, I don't know, if you're in that situation, you don't know what to do. But
Right.
so anyway, I haven't done, I've been doing open houses and just trying to reach out to people, but I haven't had the luck that you guys had. So I need to do something a little different, so I'm taking notes.
Yeah. I know Michael was doing quite a few open houses and still is. And Michael, you even, I would even see when you'd post it, and, Bob Lucico and his team, Becky, like they're really good about, sharing them. And you're taking on some heat from a few people, like, why are you doing open houses with COVID? It's like, well, because not, like you have a house to sell. The seller needs it sold. We're holding it open. Clearly people are buying, they're competing.
The market's better. The market's better for me at this time. I think with everybody else it's very good. It's very clean. You have the after lunch people that are no longer there, qualified buyers who are coming in and really wanting to look. As everybody knows, I just plowed through 11 weeks of open houses straight through COVID. I just walked the wire and just kept plowing forward, and it's paid off. And had a couple of buyers that I signed. We've missed out on deals because people come in with cash offers, 10,000 above, 20-day close, waive the appraisals. It's hard to compete with that. But I have some clients who just went into contract this last week that I met during that. I'm just trying to just keep doing my mojo, and just what I do, it's what I do, and just hopefully it just keeps being successful. So I feel very lucky. So, but I got pulled to a knothole backwards by a couple of people that I thought were my friends, and it was 2 of them said some pretty hurtful things about. And I talked to Jason about that. I talked to you, Brad, about that, and what people were saying, and it made me look like I was the person who was spreading it all throughout Arizona, and just kind of, it was hard. It was hard to take, but I learned to take it like water off a duck's back and just just keep going, because there are wonderful people out there who need our help. And that's what's great about it. And they count on us. And so, you know, I'm going to be the lighthouse for them during the fog and the rough seas, and do what I can to help them.
Right. So, you know, for me, I was open houses and sphere of influence. For you, it was definitely a lot of open houses. You know, how about the others on the call, Michael or Katie or Paul? You know, are you doing anything other than open houses or sphere right now?
You know, mine was mostly sphere, and I had a real similar experience to both you, Brad, and Paul, in that I just watched my buyers go away. Like their hours were getting cut, or they were getting forced into furloughs, and we knew they were going to come back. But like, I even had one buyer that was under contract, and then his hours got slashed, and he knew he wasn't going to be able to qualify for his loan, and so we had to cancel, and they were devastated. And you know, they're finally just right now back into the market. He finally has his 2 weeks of full-time work, and so I think, you know, just loving people through that was super helpful. And I think the one thing that I took from learning at Keller Williams from the very, very beginning, like when I was a brand new agent, was that it was listings to last, and that we don't need to market for buyers, that we only need to market for listings. And the buyers are going to come no matter what. And so in all of your marketing materials and all of your messages and all of your everything, that it should always be about helping people get houses sold, that the buyers will come, but that you're always looking and marketing and asking about that. Now, I can't say that I'm perfect at that, because I do work with a lot of buyers, and so I like to answer buyer questions as well in a lot of my videos and stuff like that, but we do really try and focus and make people know that we're listings agents. We're not just buyer agents. We're definitely listing agents. And I think that helped, because when my buyers were like, just, there was nothing that could be done. It wasn't their fault. It just was happening. But the listings were still there and still carrying us through. And the fact that people were, you know, knew that we were listing agents, that's I think what carried me through on that.
Yeah. How are your conversations looking like now for any of you that are doing open houses? Are you like, you know, are you changing your body language? Are you changing your conversations at all, kind of just because of what's going on in the world today?
Yeah.
Are you,
It's very, to me, I just find it awkward in a way a lot of times, because you can't really shake hands. You don't know whether you should or not. Now, I do. If they reach out their hand, I do it, and I'm okay with it. I haven't been worried about it, but some people are kind of freaked out, so I don't, and it's just kind of a weird. I don't feel right.
It's
and then
awkward,
with
isn't
a
it?
mask on too.
Yeah.
It's like,
It's
I don't.
You
so
got to give him the
awkward.
elbow.
Yeah.
yeah.
Well,
Right. Yeah. Okay.
The young Frankenstein.
Yeah, it's different, but you know, even with a mask on, I just feel different. Like I don't feel like I'm really getting to know this person, or you know, I don't see them, they don't see me. But it's, I mean, other than that, I mean, I did meet a couple here this last weekend, and the last few that I've done, I've met a few, so it's, you know, it hasn't been a lot different, but it just feels awkward, I guess.
Yeah, I think Michael's been doing this too, but like the first thing that we do is like right as close to the front door as we possibly can. We set up sort of a sanitation station. And so the first thing that we have right there is hand sanitizer. I have my clipboard. I've got my, you know, Clorox wipes, so that they see me wiping down the pens. They see me wiping down the clipboards. The hand sanitizer is there. Whenever anybody comes in, we put our masks on, we step back. You know, it's totally different. Instead of stepping forward, you're stepping backwards. It's,
Okay.
yeah, it's very awkward, I think is the best word, but I think people are there because they want to be there. The other thing that we've really implemented with our open house is we do a half an hour. When before COVID, I would do a 3-hour open house, and we'd do like 10 to 1. And they'd be open the whole time. Now what we're doing is we're doing a virtual open house from 10 to 10:30. Then I stop, I go put out my signs, and then I do a physical open house from 11 to 1. So if you like what you saw in the virtual and you want to come see it in person, come join us afterwards. If you're nervous about coming to the in-person, here's the virtual. We're going to be here. You can ask us questions. We're live. It's, you know, so we've changed, but I'm going to keep it. I'm going to keep that. I love it.
Mm-hmm. I think that's a really good play. It's amazing. You know, like, I mean, normally I would go around, I would door knock the neighborhood, you know, like 25 doors down this way, this way, this way, this way, right? And just invite people to the open house. And, you know, and if they answer the door, I hand them a flyer. If they didn't answer the door, I put on a door hanger, right? And the conversation was pretty much the same every time. You know, it's like, hey, I'm holding I introduced myself. I'm Brad Cox, local realtor. I'm holding your neighbor's house open right down the street on, you know, fill in the blank. And I'm inviting all the neighbors to come by. The open house is 12 to 4. However, from 12 to 1 is neighbors only. And then from 1 o'clock to 4, it's open to the neighborhood or to general public. So anyone in the neighborhood can come in and, you know, and see it firsthand. You know, nobody knows that I'm promoting it, you know, for this first hour just for you. You know, I just try to have a conversation with them. Now I don't do that because nobody's going to open their door. If they do, you just kind of get machine gunned, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I like that play of being able to do the virtual open house and say, now, if you like what you saw, come on down. And by the way, this is what we're doing. I've got my mask on. I got, you know, we got whatever, hand sanitizer,
Exactly.
gloves. Yeah, I love
Exactly.
it.
And the other thing that we do is we have, I only do this for my first to market listings because I only do open houses for my first to market listings. But we will do, we have Magnus Title put together like an invitation, an open house invitation, and it flat out in bold red letters says, "We love nosy neighbors." So, you know, nosy neighbors, and then it gets hand delivered to the 500 nearest and dearest neighbors. And they just, I mean, it's just like the flyer delivery guys. So they're not knocking, we're not door knocking, we're not doing any of that. We're just shoving it in their doors. And big fat says, "We love nosy neighbors." So here's the virtual, and come see us on these times, and a couple pictures of the house.
Can I steal that? Is that okay?
Yeah, absolutely.
I love that. We love nosy neighbors.
We
Love
love
it.
nosy neighbors. Yeah, because everybody wants to come and see.
They always
just,
come
you
in,
know,
they
don't
pop
wanna own
in.
it.
So I haven't done the virtual, and I've seen a couple of videos, or, you know, I was going to follow how to do that, but I haven't done it because I was just going to do them in person. But I usually do a little bit of I'll do a walkthrough sometimes, and then I'll put that out on Facebook. So how do you do the virtual? Is it just, you just kind of walk through the house with like on Zoom, or what are you using?
So I use Facebook. We do a Facebook Live. We set up a Facebook event in advance and promote that event out there. We put a little money behind it, pay to play, and promote that open house. And then you go live within your event. And I just use my phone. And we walk around, and of course, you know, in the comments and stuff like that, and anybody who's watching a live can type in comments and stuff like that. So if I can, I have my assistant there with me, and she's watching it on her laptop while I'm on my phone. But if that's not possible, it still pops up, you know, so I can still see it and kind of go from there. But yeah, we walk around. So I usually start from outside. Here's the neighborhood, walk them through the front door, you know, like as if they were going to walk into the open house. And then if they ask questions and they're like, "Hey, can you show me under the bathroom sink?" Sure, I can do that. And can you show me this specifically? Sure, let's walk over here and look at this. And I'm rambling for 30 minutes pretty much.
Okay.
And if people are asking
That
questions,
was what I was going to say, is you just kind of talking the whole time, or
talking to myself.
Yep.
I feel like,
Okay.
I mean, I just pretend like I'm talking to people and showing them the house. Like I just sort of pretend like I've got a buyer there with me, and I go through the facts and the figures and the HOA fees and the this and the that. And here's what the seller loves best about their house. Here's what they love best about this area. You know, let me point this out to you about the master bedroom. Let me, you know, so it's like a glorified showing, if you will. But it's nice because if somebody has a question or they want to see something, then you can, you know, and I sit there and like, when anybody pops in and it says so-and-so's watching, I'll shout them out, you know, like, "Hey, Jason, how's it going?" Or, you know, "Oh, hey, thanks for showing up today." Or, "If you guys have any questions," you know, so I'm calling people out by name as they're popping through so that it sounds like there's people.
Right on.
For every listing I have, I send out postcards to 60 to 80 people from their front doorstep, inviting them to the open house and asking them to come visit when I do the broker open or the Saturday or Sunday. And I've had some pretty good returns on that. I've had neighbors come over, take a look at the house. Of course, they want to come over look anyways, but I've had neighbors come from, you know, block and a half, 2 blocks away, and have popped in and took a look at the house. And then I ask every single person to come through, by chance, to have you received my postcard? "Oh yeah, we received your postcard. It was great. Thank you. And yeah, and is there anything, can I help you with the house?" And then once a house is sold, and then I send it out to them, and they know that what the house is sold and for what, or like one was for 5,000 over in Glendale. And, you know, you're welcome, raise the comps for your house in the neighborhood. And, you know, and I've had 3 people give me a call from those postcards that had questions and want to talk to me. And I've got 2 that are very, I think, bona fide leads from that are interested in selling their homes. So that works. I kind of connect with them and invite 60 people from that doorstep to the open house, and then I send it out and let them know how quickly I sold it for how much, just to let them know that I did list it and I did sell it, and we were successful. And how can we help you with your home? And that's, I've been in talks with 3 people now, so it was worth the investment to do, and I'll probably stay within that habit of keep doing that. Hey, Scotty, how are you?
Hey,
So
Yes.
Michael, do you
What up?
use, like, this is my favorite open house script, and I'm not as good about it as I really wish I was, but I love it. The script of like, okay, when somebody walks through your door, you just assume they're a seller as well as a buyer. And so welcome to the open house. So I always say, are you a nosy neighbor, or how did you find out about us? And then they'll answer that, and I'll say, so do you also have a house to sell? Because I think we forget that most buyers probably have, or at least half, have a house to sell, right? And we don't want to miss that opportunity. And
They know
again,
somebody.
yeah, and at least staying, again, listing focused
Mhm.
to do that. And so I wish I was better. I wish I was more polished with that, but I do try and pull that script out when I remember.
When they come
Well,
through,
you know, oh, go ahead.
sorry, go ahead, Brad.
I was going to say it's all about intention, right? You know, like, so your intention in engaging them in conversation is to qualify them. So how did you find out, you know, about our open house? It's important, right? Because you want to know where your marketing's working the best. If it's a sign out on the street, super, right? If it's Zillow, if it's their agent send you, if their agent send you, then you know, okay, they have an agent. Oh, great. What's his or her name? I work with a lot of agents in the neighborhood. And you can continue qualifying them, right? And so your intention is to qualify them to be a lead for a seller or a buyer, and get them in your pipeline and have a follow-up protocol for them, right? So, because if you're just picking up the phone, or if you're just having a conversation with someone and you don't have any intention behind it, then you walk out of an open house with no leads. If you have no follow-up system and you do have leads, then you still don't have leads, and then you have no business, right?
Right.
And so you have to be really intentional about what you're doing. So even if you're making mistakes along the way, you know, at least you're having those conversations, you know, but it's what you do to learn from that so that you get better at it, right? So like my first year in real estate, I held 40 open houses because they're really inexpensive, and I met a lot of people, and I closed 5 pieces of business. My second year in real estate, I only did 20 open houses, and I still closed 5 pieces of business from them. So I improved my communication, and I still closed the same number of business. This year, I don't want to talk about this year. I've done a lot of open houses, you know, but your conversations get better, right? And where you house them gets better. So what is everybody doing right now when you talk to your sphere, you do those care calls, if you happen to drop by or pop by, if you happen to do anything like that at all, the open house, whatever it is, what are you doing to get them, you know, into your pipeline so that you can start sending them relevant real estate information and qualify them to be a buyer or a seller or both? Because that's where the rubber meets the road. You know, that's why the board fills up, because you're having you're having conversations, and then the quality of the conversations. And by the quality of the conversations, I mean the quality of the questions, and then the quality of the follow-up questions, so that you're getting more information, right?
Yeah. I find that
So-
most of mine come from either my sphere of influence or referrals from my sphere of influence. And so again, those care calls just, they just are sort of perpetuating, and then staying top of mind seems to be the biggest deal right now. It's like if people remember you and remember that you do real estate, then I'm having a lot of people reach out to me, which ideally is how I like to do business, because I'm not that great at going out and like soliciting business and stuff like that. I'm way better when they come to me. But I think, you know, for as far as like follow-up and stuff like that, everybody goes into command. Those DTD2, that system has made life way easier, just so that you don't have to try and remember up today, you know. And like even with a bad CRM, even with the worst CRM, the DTD2 system works. And that's, I think, what I have appreciated the most, is, okay, so this week, this is, it doesn't matter what system they're in, these last name letters, this is who I'm reaching out to. And, you know, and if I can't get them on the phone, then I send them a note card, a handwritten card or something like that. We're real systematic. We're like, we have birthday cards, we have anniversary cards, we have all of that. But if I didn't have them in some sort of a database, then none of that would happen. And so I think that that's some kind of a database, something, and some sort of system around it is how we're keeping those conversations going.
Well, and that's it. And you have to convert from there, right? That's the business right there. You have to go out and have conversations. You have to convert them, right? That's the business.
I have a
They're the
two-part
buyers and
system
sellers.
that when they come in, I just offer them, I welcome them in. I tell everybody, welcome home when they come through the door. And so when they're looking, and then I ask them if they know any relevant information about the house. I give them the taxes, the HOA, year the house was built, how many square feet, how big the lot is, how many bedrooms, how many bath. And then I said, if you have any other questions, please take your time, make yourself at home, wander around. And then if you have any questions, I'll be down here. There's cold water, there's things here, you know, whatever. Once they get done looking through the home, then when they come back down in and they trickle down, they always seem to have questions. Everybody. A couple will come and go. But once they come down and start asking questions, and I kind of start probing a little bit, once I start asking questions, I try to pull out the key words, what they're saying to me that they don't know really what they're saying to me, and their answers, so I can kind of figure that out. And then I kind of start, you know, working off of those things. And once I figure out kind of the direction they're going, what they want, you know, then I start asking a few more questions. And then I ask them, are you working with a realtor? Is somebody helping you in your process finding it? And then I just keep asking and just create conversation. And a number of times I get lucky enough where they drop the walls and they feel comfortable enough with me to talk and give me that information. And that's when I start asking them, you know, I'd love to give you a hand. I have an app that I can help you with, you know, just try to give them value. But as soon as they come through the door, I don't chase them down. I don't tackle them. I just want them to make themselves at home. I want them to make themselves comfortable, look around, and I want them to take their time. The longer they stay there, the better. And so then that's where I try to get my info.
I think that's a really strong point, Michael. I think that's really right. Your goal, you know, in order to have the conversation, you know, we always say we need to have more conversations, but we don't talk a lot about how do we get to the place where we can have more conversations, right? And you said you don't tackle them, you know, you give them comfort, you know, they're very comfortable, you're very open. I mean, you're an easygoing guy. You're not easygoing when it comes to the close of the deal, but you're pretty easygoing on the front end because you realize you haven't gained that level of trust yet, right? You got to demonstrate to them that and you can do it so quickly. Please feel free to look around. Well, what if you said, please feel free to look around, peruse on your own, and then you followed them around the house?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, then they're like,
right?
So,
Totally incongruent.
Yeah.
total. I mean, they feel like they're at a car lot, and I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
But I
Right.
want them to come down to the source of information where I'm standing with all my information, and they see that I'm ready to go, and I answer questions that I can. If I don't have the answer, I most certainly reach out. Everybody knows I'm gonna talk to Pat, I'm gonna talk to Scott, I'm gonna talk to, you know, whoever that I can pick your brain. You know, I'm gonna be knocking on your door to figure it out. We talked the other day for what? We talked for a half hour or so, I think, you know, and just brainstorming, you know. And so I try to pull information as much as I can, but I just want them to be comfortable so they can be comfortable to come down and talk to me. And that's where I really try to probe and pull that information out. And then I get their information, and then one of Brad's open houses 2 weeks ago, I got some information from a great couple. And now I'm helping them look for some investment homes for rentals. And I came in and talked to Brad about that as well. Just get a little bit of advice. We talked about that. But they were great, and they stayed. I figure if they stay in that open house and look around that open house for at least more than 5 minutes to 10, and then they come down into your area and start answering questions, I think your chances of an opportunity to give them value are.
When do you have them register at the very beginning, or is it just kind of whenever, because sometimes when you catch them right off the bat, they get a little bit standoffish. And then if you let them go and walk around the house, someone else comes in, then they sometimes leave without capturing that information. So,
Yeah.
Good idea.
Michael.
I've been trying something this year. I've not had them sign in. I've been trying to work with the people and not make them feel like they have to sign in. And I've been trying to just go with the flow. And I'm trying a different mojo
okay.
this quarter. And before I had them sign in everything, but a lot of them, I wouldn't get the right information. I'd get a bad phone number. But I feel the ones that develop a trust with you and want to stay and ask questions are the ones that you really want to pay attention to. There's some who are going to just blast right out the door. You can't stop them.
Yeah.
It's just a numbers
Katie.
thing.
Okay,
I feel like Katie has something to say.
Yeah. Me.
So I use a totally different, you know how like Title gives you those sign-in books?
Yeah.
I have a flyer that I put out. So the first thing I do is on the front door, it says, hey, welcome, come on in. Seller has requested that everyone that tours the home signs in. So before they walk in the door, they know they're going to be signing in. The next thing I do is I have them grab now. I used to hand them. Now I have them grab a clipboard and a pen. And at the bottom half of the whole, so it's like an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper. And the bottom half is all, would you please give us some feedback? And as they're touring the house, I'm having them rank curb appeal, kitchen, bedrooms, bathrooms, backyard. Like, give me a rating from 1 to 5. What do you like? And then down at the bottom, like any other notes that we can share with the seller. So they have a purpose in like walking the house. And not only they're looking for themselves, but they're also looking to give me feedback. And then when they get back at the end, they can fill out the rest. The top is all contact information. Where'd you find us? How'd you find us? Was it Zillow? Was it open house signs? Was it our postcards? Was it your agent? And then I also tell them, if you have an agent, put your name and all of your agent's contact information. We want to honor those relationships. So that also gives them an out. And it also doesn't make them feel. And then I do the same thing Michael does. I'm like, I am down here to answer any questions that you have. I'm going to set you free. If you need me, holler, I'll come running. But otherwise, just feel free to tour the house, give us all that feedback on the property. And we would sure appreciate, your thoughts and stuff that we can share with the seller. Because if there's anything we can correct, we would like to do that. So
well, I think that lends itself. I think that lends itself, Katie, to what you said. You used the term, "Are you a nosy neighbor?" Which you might want to modify that. Are you a curious neighbor? But no. But
are you a curious buyer?
The point is that when you're doing your open house, right, you're demonstrating to anybody who walks through there how you would sell their house. When you have that mindset, this is what I will do as part of the marketing of your home. So as an example, the sign-in idea, when you use the premise, my seller wants to know who's been in their home. So I'd respectfully ask that you sign in with accurate information.
Right.
I love the fact of, can I have that form that you use, Katie?
I
love that.
Absolutely.
I want to, Katie.
Love that.
Yeah.
People don't mind signing if they understand why they're signing.
That's subliminal messaging information you're getting from them. I love that.
So
Paul, put your email in the chat and I'll email it to you and Michael, because I've got Michael's.
So the one thing
and then if you want to do it at the beginning, Paul, or at the end, I don't know that it really matters much, but you're obviously, you want to get as much of that as you can, but yeah, you never want to force it. You never want anybody to feel
Give
like,
them a clipboard though, so that they feel like they have a purpose and they have something to bring back to you. Some of it's subliminal.
Yeah, that's
the
brilliant.
only problem that I've had with them filling out the clipboard with their information is then a lot of times I can't read the writing, like their actual email address. Like, okay, here's your name and here's this email
You have
address.
to qualify them, Paul. You have to say you can write, right? You can spell.
Yeah.
Well, I take a quick glance at it as they hand it back to me, and I'll say, so just because my eyes are bad and I can't, I'll make up some sort of excuse. So let me make sure I've got this right, because
Okay.
What if you guys? What if you did it instead of with a clipboard? You use technology. And what I'm getting at with this here is, for me, I am by no means an open house expert. If I'm going to talk about open house stuff, I'm looking to someone like Michael to say, well, tell me about doing open houses, because I honestly haven't done an open house in, I don't know, many years. Listing though, I've always been super hyper listing focused, listing, so that my conversations are all driven towards find that listing. Even in the open house, what I have encouraged the agents on our team is to show them exactly what Scott was saying. When they come in, you're immediately showing them from the beginning what it looks like to work with me. And some of that they don't actually see, so you have to kind of script it into there. So when they're coming in, they say, hey, thanks for coming into the open house today. You've got something like Katie says on the front door, everyone needs to sign in. With it being COVID and stuff, what I really look to protect all my clients. If you were to ever sell with me, just something like that, or even even language of sales would tell you to say, when you sell with me, this is the sort of thing that I do. And you could have today you could have it on a barcode that they scan the barcode and it would open up. You can do this in Command. We don't have ours built out to do it with Command. We use ours this way. But right here, what this is the electronic registration form. So now there's no problem reading it. They're going to type their name in here, their email, their phone number, and I'm asking them, are they considering selling in the next 6 months? Not buying, selling. Because if they're buying, they're considering selling, right? If they own a house.
I have that, but my hotspot has been a problem. Internet going down, and then I have to go back to the paper, but it's still good. I like them both, but I'm just
we did that for a while. And
let me show you one more step though. I'm not done yet.
Okay.
Wait, there's more.
Yeah.
There's more.
So you have them do this, and then you set up your smart plan so that when they enter this in, it goes directly into Command.
Yeah.
Okay, so now they're into Command, and you kick off an action set so that it sends them a text with a link on it. And you say, you should have just got a link.
Okay.
Now I know whether they sent me a real phone number or not. Oh, you didn't get that? Let's try that again. And they fill it out. And then this is the link they get. Please provide feedback.
Okay.
Curb appeal. What's your first impression? The
That's
kitchen,
great.
the master bedroom,
I love that.
flooring, price. What did you like least about the property? And then we've actually even done this thing where we're like, would you like to win a vacation? And we're like, for $300, you can buy a simple cruise, or you can buy 2 tickets to Disneyland for 2 days, and that's the vacation you're giving away. And you do it run it for the whole year. But people say yes. Now you have a chance to get their physical address when they do that, and they submit this survey.
$300, you get 2 free COVID testing.
Yeah, totally right. See, we could put that on here, free COVID testing, right? But the point of this is you're now leveraging the technology that we already have at our disposal. This could be created on a landing page in Command, right? That's where it's sending them to, and this data it gets gathered, and on that landing page you could use just a Google form, and that Google form collects the data, and at the end of it you say to your seller, here's what everyone who came through said about the house, right? You have that data for them. And you're explaining this to the people that they come through, that, look, this is the care that I take when I sell your house. When you work with me, I make sure that we have a contact-free experience if that's what we need to have, those sorts of things. And you're signposting those along the way when they come in the door right off. And you're simplifying your own system because they'll immediately go into Command. It's legible. You know you have good information. And you could even set them right up on property reports right then within Command if they've done and given you the address. I mean, there's just an immense amount of value you can give them just right off the bat.
Yeah, I just used
I did not know that Command did that. So I have an app on my iPad that's called Open House, and it has all that minus a questionnaire, and it says looking to buy, not looking to buy or sell, not looking to buy or to sell. Looking to buy. So I'm going to change it because I can change it. And it has 0 to 3 months, 6 to 9 months, or 1 year plus. So I'm going to get rid of all that stuff and say, are you looking to buy less than 6 months? Or are you looking to sell?
Yep.
Yeah.
I
love that.
We tried that for a while where we were doing it on our iPads and stuff like that. This was clear back when Jason, my husband, was doing real estate with me, so eons ago. And we found that people couldn't figure out how to use the iPad. Like, they got really frustrated, and they couldn't.
That's why they use their own phone now.
Oh, because they're scanning a link.
Right. It's just
Right,
there's
the
a
QR
you
code.
can simple QR code that, and it's the QR code that kind of when they just put the camera on it, it pops up a link and they just tap the link. And what link did they go to? The open house registration form.
You
And
know
so
what I
now
like
it's all
about
on
that
their own
too?
phone.
You know what I
Wow,
like
they're,
about that too now? You don't have to hand them anything.
Right.
Nobody has to worry about germs. It's your own stuff. Just scan it like you scan a menu at the
Correct.
restaurant now, right?
Correct.
Love it.
Can we do a
That's the
class
same
on
way,
how to set all that up?
they're doing that on golf carts now. You just hit the scan and then you get the card comes up, the scorecard, and so you keep score on your cell phone.
Correct.
Jason,
Yeah.
can we do a class on how to set all that up?
Yeah.
We sure can.
Do
We
any
sure
of you
can.
ever use your ECard and ask to send them your ECard while they're standing there with you?
Yes.
Because I do a lot, and I'll send my ECard. It goes to them, and then I say, well, I'd like to make sure that you got it, so I did the right phone number, and it
Right.
dings on their phone.
Right.
And then when it doesn't ding on their phone, then I know they gave me the wrong number.
Exactly.
But they got all my information, my name, my real estate number, all the information that's needed, phone number, email, all that stuff on the Keller Williams app. But that's been pretty successful for me in contacting them and getting their information. And then I put it in my SOI and put down what, has been working and what is not, how I got the information. So I'm starting to get better with command. I'm everybody knows, and I'm very honest, I'm not really great with command right now, but I'm working on it. And I'm hoping by the end of the year, I'll be pretty fluent, comfortable.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I just tried the login, open house login using command this weekend, and it worked. But there are some bugs I didn't realize it, but it has a pop-up where it says I'm not a robot. And you have to get the three pictures with a stop sign or something. So I was doing it for everybody, but again, when my hotspot on my phone failed and I lost service, then I had to go back to the old style. But I do like what Jason said about having that QR code. I mean, just once we can get that where they don't have to touch anything, they can just scan it, then they pop it up on their phone, and then go right to that landing page. That's awesome. So that's what I'm going to be doing.
I love
All right, we got 5 minutes left. Is there anything else you find that's really impacting your business right now? Is
Yeah,
BLM, the elections,
COVID.
The weather, like
Yeah.
we just had the hottest July ever.
Open
the hottest,
houses.
I'm curious, is it beyond open houses, where are other people, so open houses, sphere of influence, any other places you guys are going to pick up listings, like anything else you're doing?
Well, farming, if you're farming an area.
Okay. Geo
I
farm.
mean, if you start a farm, that's how you become a listing-oriented agent. You can do farms that are geographic, or you can do farms that are demographic. So remember that.
Two places I'd say for you guys to really be looking, and what Scott said is one of them, is the farming. And we talked about this as COVID was hitting, that if you're not farming, find a place to farm right now, because your normal turnaround, I will bet dollars to donuts that the turnaround time right now normally is 12 to 18 months to start seeing a return on a farm. It's shrunk.
Yes.
With right now, you start doing just a little bit of farming with just a little bit of consistency, you're going to pop them really quick. And so now is the time, if you've been thinking about, I want to farm this area, whatever, get your butt in, sit down with Angela, put in the plan, and start executing on that plan. If you need help executing on it, come see me. I'll make sure you're executing on that plan.
And
all right.
And if you guys remember Chris's slide if you remember Chris's slide at the when Jason did the market update, there was a statistic that just hit me like a ton of bricks. And the statistic was, and I don't know if it's completely accurate at this point or not, doesn't really matter. It was such a big statistic, it just got my attention. And that one was that 87% of the people that are, like maybe really thinking about selling and stuff aren't doing it because they think it's a bad time because of COVID.
100%.
So your messaging can go directly at that.
Okay.
And that's you start farming just a little bit like that, you're going to see it pop. Second place is pay-per-click. Pay-per-click, not Facebook. I know Facebook's the big sexy thing that's getting all the attention through command and stuff right now. Guess what? We have that same sort of data connection with Google inside of command. Run pay-per-click ads at specifically things about like get your home value, and then you create a landing page with command that asks them for their information, and you'll send them a CMA. Right? Put it in there that, you know, you get the latest statistics on your property and know what's selling around you or whatever. And again, it's a landing page. Download my app. Pay-per-click and farming, I'm going to tell you that both of those really start to get to intent-based sort of marketing. Really have.
Is there a certain amount
right
that
now.
you are charged pay-per-click? Because I know if you spend
Yes,
a little bit more, 50 cents a piece or a 25 cents or 75, you get a higher rating up in your, you know, with your advertising, and they click on it.
Well, the whole pay-per-click campaign is based on the competition for the keywords that you're targeting.
Correct.
So if you're targeting keywords that are highly targeted, you know, my home's value, you're going to be paying astronomical prices, and you're not going to really be getting what you want, because that's where the big boys are playing. And so they're willing to pay $70, $80, $200 or more for that click, where you can be getting them if you're doing it more like my home's value in name of your neighborhood, right? My home's value in Eastmark home values, that kind of thing. If you do that, you're going to significantly lower your cost per click. And the best thing to do is just let the algorithm take care of it. Don't say, I don't want to spend any more than X on a click. Just say, here's my budget, spend it till it's gone, run.
And the more narrow focus you have, the better quality of lead you're likely to have.
Yep.
So
when you're talking about value and like Eastmark, you've gone you start to narrow it down as to what it is where they're looking to sell, where their home is, where they're at, and then you're not having to chase something up in New River.
Right. All right, guys.
I like it.
Really good stuff. So it sounds like the Sphere's working for everyone. Open houses. We have some really good ideas here for how to move forward with, you know, continuing the care calls and improving our intention in the open houses electronically, QR codes, leveraging command to make this all work. And Charles Dine has been amazing with his time, by the way.
Yes.
Not only does he just show up, you know, every Friday, you know, but anytime you ping the guy and say, hey man, I got to tell you, I got something that's not working, you know, like, what am I missing here? And he'll debug it in about 5 seconds, then help you, you know, reroute it. And you'll be like, oh yeah. And by the way, I tried this and this and this too. And you know, he gets it. He cares about it. He's all geeked out about it. And you know, that's your go-to guy right there.
Yeah.
I called him yesterday and he totally bailed Allie and I out while we were trying to do a pay-per-click thing for my listing. So yeah, totally second that.
My website was stuck. Like I had linked something incorrectly. And so I was getting redundant leads. I was getting redundant information everywhere. And that was annoying. So I thought I fixed it, and then I got nothing. Like I broke it.
Worse.
So he brought me back in. He's like, I just need 30 minutes. I'll get you back up and running. An hour and a half later, because I had really screwed the thing up, he, you know, cleaned up the whole thing. And then he's like, here, if you do this widget here, and if you move this up here, because of the way people read screens, it's Z formation, left to right, blah, 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 you're going to get a lot more activity on there. I'm like, huh, mind blown. Boom. So yeah, Charles Dine.
He's awesome.
Great guy.
Amen.
So,
Holla.
I agree.
all right. So my first follow-up is going to be with Jason and Charles Dine to talk about this QR code and fix my landing page so that I can get the stuff straight into command instead of on an Excel spreadsheet that I have to import as a CSV file into command, because I'm doing at least 2 extra steps.
Right.
So, and it's all about saving time, right?
That's right.
Yes.
Get your time back.
Great stuff. This is great.
Enjoyed it.
Yeah,
Thank
thanks
you everybody
everybody.
for participating
Good
today.
job, guys.
Thank you,
Great
Brad,
job.
for leading.
Thank you, Bradley.
My
Appreciate it.
pleasure. All right.
Okay.
All right.
Good seeing you
Have a
guys.
happy
everyone.
week. We'll talk to
See
you
you
soon.
guys. See you next
Bye.
week.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
later.